The sun rises over the endless expanse of the Iraqi desert on January 19, 1991. The stillness of the morning is soon broken by the roar of jet engines cutting through the sky. Two American F-15C Eagles slice across the horizon, their sleek forms glinting in the pale light. At the controls are Captain Cesar Rico Rodriguez and his wingman Captain Craig Mole Underhill. They are on an escort mission, part of Operation Desert Storm, ensuring the skies remain clear for a formation of 36 coalition strike aircraft heading toward Baghdad. Below them, waves of F-16s sweep in low, each carrying heavy 2,000-pound bombs. As they reach their targets, ammunition depots and military facilities, the desert erupts in massive explosions. Towers of flame and black smoke spiral into the sky. Anti-aircraft batteries awaken, firing blindly into the heavens, and the F-16s pull up hard, releasing chaff and flares to evade incoming fire. For the F-15 pilots above, this is just another day in the war, until radar screens begin to tell a different story. Instead of surface-to-air missiles, the Iraqis have sent something deadlier: MiG-29 Fulcrums, their most advanced fighter jets. The Iraqi Air Force, heavily outnumbered, has spent most of the conflict avoiding direct combat, waiting for an ideal moment to strike. Now spotting the isolated pair of F-15s, they see their chance. Inside the AWACS control aircraft far above the Gulf, Controller Mark White radios in, "Rico, you have two hostiles. One bearing 040 for 35, another 340 for 65. Roger that," Rico replies calmly. "We'll take the 040. The F-15s pivot smoothly toward the threat. On their radar displays, two contacts flicker to life, an enemy aircraft closing fast. "Contact," Mole reports. At that moment, a new signal appears on Rico's radar warning receiver. 29, the electronic signature of a MiG-29. "I'm being painted," he says sharply. "MiG-29? Affirmative." Both American pilots steel themselves. Two pairs of fourth-generation fighters now rush toward each other at supersonic speed. A duel between equals. Rico arms an AIM-7 Sparrow missile but holds fire. The Iraqis make their move first, diving low toward the desert, hoping to vanish within the radar clutter near the ground. But Rico is an experienced pilot. He watches as the single contact splits into two clean radar signatures. I see them. Two contacts and 2 versus 2. He locks onto one of the MiGs. Inside the enemy cockpit, the Iraqi pilot's radar warning receiver screams, "He's been targeted." But then the warning abruptly stops. The MiGs have banked sideways, exploiting a flaw in the F-15's radar. "Lost it," Rico mutters. The F-15's radar has a known blind spot. Targets moving perpendicularly across the nose become invisible. The Iraqis are using that weakness perfectly, weaving in and out of the radar cone. Contact. Lost it again. For several minutes, the two Fulcrums toy with the American fighters, appearing, vanishing, then reappearing 12 miles away. Each time Rico tries to maintain a missile lock, they slip back into the radar's shadow. "They're dragging us," he realizes grimly. Inside the AWACS, Mark White monitors the tense exchange. The F-15s are now approaching the edge of his assigned airspace. As per protocol, he transfers control of Rico and Mole to another radar operator, unaware that the handoff will come at a critical moment. Up ahead, the two F-15s chase their elusive opponents, until the radar warning receivers suddenly light up with a chorus of hostile signals, multiple emissions ahead. Mole warns. Rico squints at the displays. The sky ahead is filled with surface-to-air missile systems, a whole grid of S-125 Neva SAMs protecting the city of Baghdad. "They're pulling us into the city's air defenses," Rico says. "What do we do?" He listens to the strike formation's radio chatter. The F-16s are still over their targets, dropping their payloads. If the F-15s turn back now, those bombers will be sitting ducks for the MiGs. "Hold position," Rico decides. "Keep them busy until the strike force clears out." Defying every instinct for self-preservation, the two Eagles push forward, straight toward the killing field. Their radar receivers click with each sweep of the enemy's targeting systems, but the Iraqis aren't finished. The two MiGs they've been chasing aren't the real threat. A third MiG-29 is racing in from the west, radar turned off, invisible to both the F-15 systems and the AWACS tracking grid. Mark White, still glancing at the situation from his AWACS screen, spots something unusual, a new radar blip approaching the F-15's flank. He watches in disbelief as the third MiG creeps within striking distance, 18 nautical miles, then 16, then 14, the range of an R-27 missile. White hesitates. The F-15s show no reaction. Should he break radio silence and risk distracting them? Finally, he decides he can't wait any longer. Pop-up contact and bearing 330, 13 miles. The warning comes just in time. Rico instantly drops his external fuel tanks, his aircraft lightening as vapor trails burst from the wings. He yanks the control stick hard left, pointing his nose toward the unseen threat. "Bogey 8 miles out," he calls. The MiG pilot, flying dark, receives word from his ground controllers. "Target ahead. You're in range." He activates his radar. Instantly, Rico's warning receiver lights up with that chilling number again, 29. Both fighters, aware of each other now, close the distance at supersonic speed. Rico locks onto the MiG but holds fire. According to coalition rules of engagement, any target inside 10 nautical miles must be visually identified before attack, to prevent friendly fire on stealth aircraft like the F-117 Nighthawk. Even knowing the danger, Rico sticks to the rules. Mole, verify friend or foe, but there's no time. The Iraqi locks him first. The radar warning receiver screams a solid tone. "Missile lock. I'm spiked," Rico shouts. He flips his F-15 upside down and dives hard, releasing chaff to break the lock. Going low. Terrain might jam his radar, but the warning tone doesn't fade. The missile is still tracking him. At that moment, Mole completes the identification process with help from intelligence aircraft. "The target is confirmed hostile. You're clear to engage," comes the voice over the radio. Mole doesn't hesitate. Fox 1. An AIM-7 Sparrow missile leaps off the rail of his F-15, trailing a plume of white smoke across the sky. Rico watches it streak downward toward the approaching MiG. The Iraqi pilot, moments from firing, never gets the chance. The Sparrow strikes the Fulcrum square in the nose, detonating on impact. The enemy jet disintegrates in midair, scattering fragments and burning debris into the sand below. Splash 1, Rico confirms. Rico steadies his aircraft, pulling out of the dive just 500 feet above the ground. He exhales for the first time in minutes. But Mark White's voice cuts in again. "Second group, north 10 miles. Rico's eyes snap to the radar display. Another pair of MiGs. The strike group is now retreating safely, so technically the F-15s could disengage. But if they turn their backs now, they'll be easy prey. Rico decides to face them head-on. The radar locks onto a new target just beyond 10 miles, clear to fire. But before launching, Mole's system flashes a warning. Friendly identification. "Hold up," Mole says. He's lighting up as friendly. Rico frowns. That can't be right. There are no friendlies this deep north of Baghdad. He needs visual confirmation. Rico pushes his F-15 low, closing the distance fast. He climbs sharply, the engines howling, and spots a silhouette slicing through the bright morning haze. The object grows larger, descending toward him. For a moment, the glare hides its identity. Then, as they pass within 50 feet, Rico sees the unmistakable green camouflage of an Iraqi MiG-29, the flag bright on its tail. It's a MiG. He banks hard left, looping above his adversary. Below, the MiG levels out, trying to turn inside his circle. The formal formations dissolve. This is a dogfight. Rico rolls inverted, pulling the F-15 through a brutal 10G turn. The pressure crushes his chest and blurs his vision, but he keeps the enemy in sight. The MiG flashes past in front of him, and Rico follows, matching every maneuver. The Fulcrum dives, trading altitude for speed. Rico pursues relentlessly, spiraling downward toward the desert floor. Above them, Mole watches the dance unfold. "I can come in," he offers. "Negative," Rico replies. "I've got him." They cross paths at blinding speed, 2 streaks of metal and fire tearing through the air. Each maneuver brings them closer to the ground. Rico forces his body through the G-forces, trying to line up the perfect shot. The MiG fills his heads-up display. He arms an AIM-9 Sidewinder, leading the target slightly to anticipate its path. But the Iraqi pilot, realizing he's cornered, flips his jet inverted and dives straight for the ground, an act of pure desperation. Rico expects the MiG to pull up at the last second. But as he watches, the Fulcrum keeps diving, Faster, steeper, past the point of recovery. He pulls away, unwilling to follow into the suicide drop. He's not coming up, Rico says quietly. Below, the Iraqi pilot fights for control. The G-forces crush him into the seat as the ground rushes closer. He yanks the control stick back with all his strength. Afterburners screaming in vain, the MiG strains beyond its structural limits and slams into the desert floor in a burst of fire and debris. Silence fills the radio. Then finally Mole's calm voice. Tactical right side. Rico glances right and sees his wingman reforming beside him. The sky is clear. The battle is over. Let's head home, Rico says. That day, Captain Cesar Rico Rodriguez scored another confirmed kill, one of 3 victories that would make him among the top American MiG killers since the Vietnam era. His discipline, composure, and adherence to the rules under life-threatening conditions became textbook examples of aerial combat leadership. In the end, 2 aircraft of the same generation met in the skies over Iraq, one powered by cunning and courage, the other by desperation and chance. Only one returned home. And high above the desert sands, the legend of the Eagle grew stronger.